What are we calling this, Coach? We got to come up. We got to come up with a name for this.
Hey,
What
we
are we
just
gonna call
call
it?
it, JF Chalk Talk.
Yeah.
But we can
We're gonna workshop this. Put us in the comments some ideas here. Chalk talk. I know we got Hokie hitter. Those are more quicker, but we're gonna do. Well, first of all, tell me your familiarity with kind of the folks that are going to be involved in putting our offense together.
All right. So when I was in North Carolina coaching, I was at East Forsyth High School, and the home of Danny O'Brien, and now our current quarterback Bryce Baker. And while I was there, we're always kind of chatting and going over some stuff. And Danny came back to visit his old high school coach, and kind of sharing some themes that he was working on, or that he had worked on previously while he was at Maryland. And I know that at East Forsyth we had kind of adapted some of the stuff that we're doing that we're going to talk about today, and used it in that offense at a high school level. So it's kind of not necessarily dumbed down, but kind of small balled a little bit. And so this is something that I had access to, and I'm lucky enough to have access to. I guarantee that none of this stuff is going to be exactly right. You know what I'm saying? And so, but I think some of the themes and concepts that we're going to talk about are going to be evident in what you're going to see on the field coming up. And again, we're not trying to give away a playbook. We're not trying to do anything like that. But I think some of the stuff that we have ached for as Hokie fans, and we have called upon, like, hey, why don't we do this? Why don't we do this for the last decade, essentially? I think the stuff that I want to show you today from a previous James Franklin offense, I think you're going to be hopefully it raises some excitement in a good way for what Hokie fans can expect coming in 2026.
Well, keep in mind, what I'm excited about this here for is Virginia Tech. Obviously, we've seen a lot of mobile quarterback. We've seen a lot of jet sweep. We've seen a lot of side-to-side motion, right? What you're going to see in Virginia Tech's offense this year is something that, quite honestly, Virginia Tech fans have never seen. If you've been watching Virginia Tech football for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, James Franklin, to really dumb it down, you're going to see some Big Ten football. Like, you're going to see some, we're in the pocket, we're using our tight ends. And I think a good spot to start would be just on the tight end note. Number one, super fired up that Steven Gosnell is coming, or Benji Gosnell is coming back.
Yes.
And my big thing about tight ends is, number one, they're all going to have a chance to play. They're all going to have a chance to be involved in the passing game. If they're going to play and they're going to get the ball, they need to know how to block. And they need to know how to block, Coach. And I'm going to put this up on the screen so you all can look at the different personnels and know what they mean. We're going to try to ingrain this in everybody's head. But what are the personnel packages that we will see more of that Virginia Tech fans have not seen?
Mm-hmm. So we're going to see a lot more 12 personnel. When we say 12 personnel, or any type of number with personnel, the first number is how many running backs are in. The second number is how many tight ends are in. So you can kind of do the math and say, okay, if I have 10 personnel in, that's one running back, no tight ends. Everybody else is a receiver on the field. All the other skill positions outside of quarterback. So that's kind of how we're going to break this down. So we're going to see 12 personnel a lot. We're going to see 2 tight ends being used. We saw a little bit last year, but they were more used in kind of an H-back role, more of in a blocking, blocking scheme to get a 3-man surface, which means you got 3 guys on one side of the ball, linemen, that can go out and block. Yep. So we're going to hopefully we're going to have enough guys. I think we're going to see some 13 personnel. I think you're going to see 2 tight ends and an H-back. When we have to max protect.
I don't mean to get graphic here, but Coach, I mean, there are going to be some dudes bricked up in the stands when we come out in 13 personnel, man. Like we have not seen a team come out in 13 personnel in a while, and I cannot wait to see us do that.
Well, and if you listen to New Heights podcast at all. Greg Olson was on this week, talking about the kind of the revolution and change that's going on as far as the tight ends concerned. There are offenses being built around, and segments of offenses in the NFL being built around having a versatile, as John Gruden calls it a joker tight end, somebody that can get down and dirty and block, but can also be a valuable member of your pass game and be able to go out and run routes like a receiver. And so having multiple of those guys, and we've brought them in the portal, we've brought them in as true freshmen. We have guys returning that are all those guys. Like, he hasn't been utilized that way. Benji Gosnell was a 4-star. It came down between us and Ohio State. The dude can ball. And so I think having Hal in there as a tight ends coach, we're just going to be set up to be able to do a lot of different things and be able to really put mismatches on guys. There's going to be times where you're going to have a 6'4", 6'5", 250-pound tight end that's going to be matched up on a 6-foot safety. And it's going to be basically, we're going to post him up over the ball, and it's going to take a great play from the safety to try to be able to have to work through that guy. So we're going to see stuff vertical down the field that we have never seen at Virginia Tech.
Are there any schools in the ACC that you think particularly have ran an offense like this? Not only are they running an offense like this, but they're doing it particularly well, or do you think this is something that's going to take the ACC a little bit by surprise?
Miami runs a little bit kind of similar. They've always been more of a kind of a pro style look. You can also look at some of the stuff that Florida State has done with who's that big number 0 that they had? It was kind of the Deuce Nicholson, I think was his name. But he's kind of one of those flex tight ends that can go out and play a receiver and kind of move them around in different areas of the formation. But being able to stretch the field vertically, loosen up the box, get some of the safeties out of the run game, and be able to open that up for whoever we have in the backfield, whether it's Hawkins, whether it's Overton, Fred, not Bill, Bill, what's his last name? Bill Davis, from Louisiana. Get those guys the ball and be able to attack, not necessarily right up the A gap, right up the middle, but be able to press the defense where those safeties are now having to worry about getting beat over the top. It's really something that we haven't seen really ever in Blacksburg. We're not really going east and west. There's going to be some stuff, and I'll show you what we're going to talk about here later on. But this is going to be kind of mind blowing for a lot of folks that are used to having the traditional dual threat quarterback. Hey, if it's 3rd and short, we're gonna spread everybody out and run quarterback power. That's not going to be in our game plan.
So, Coach, let's do this. I know you're going to walk through a couple of different schemes. If you can, I'm going to bring up the board now. So, Coach, all I would ask is just walk through what formation we're looking at, and then we'll jump through some of the different terminology and different schemes, and I'll chime in with any questions.
Okay, so right now we have an ace formation, 12 personnel. We have 1 running back, 2 tight ends here, and we're going against we're just lined up against a basic 4-man front here. When you see these numbers that are right up here in the front, that's the technique that the defensive line is playing, and it kind of gives a key as to who is supposed to go where, who's covered and uncovered on the offensive line. And when we say covered, that means you're lined up right over top of the guy. If he's uncovered, he's off to the side there. So what we're going to look at here is kind of your basic base inside zone. Okay, 34, 35. That means back in the day, you'd say the 3 back goes through the 4 hole, 3 back goes through the 5 hole. So we're going to show basically 34 inside zone. This is show this out of ace formation here. Really what this is that we're going to take away the inside threats. So we're going to do that with double teams. So it's no longer going to be no longer big on big, man on man blocking, where if we're going up against a Reuben Bain or one of those guys, they're not going to be able to beat one guy. They're going to have to beat 2. And obviously there's defensive line techniques where you can learn how to do that, but it does allow us to kind of push guys off a little bit. So the way this works here we are essentially everybody's moving in one direction. So this is hang on, I got to slide something here. We're looking at our 9 technique here. That's outside lined up outside the tight end. We are blocking him out. Okay. Now he's going to have help. He's going to get help from his tackle just to the inside. He's going to help here, but now he is also tracking to this Sam linebacker. Okay. So once we know that this 9 technique has been driven properly out of the way, and he's basically just giving him a hand and kind of escorting him out, he's working up to this safety, or excuse me, to this Sam linebacker, because this Sam linebacker is going to see the flow of the play, and he's going to be creeping this way. So we're kind of taking him along with the play. Same thing is going with this 3 technique here. We're going to take this 3 technique, and we'll be blocking him, but he's going to get help from the center. The center is going to go help. Now, once he's officially out of the way, he's tracking towards this scraping middle linebacker and getting him out of the way. Okay? Same thing with the 1, right? This 1 technique, we're double teaming with the backside guard and backside tackle, and then we're working back to the will linebacker. Okay? So now we've seen everybody kind of sealed off to the play side. And now we have this 8-eye, this 8-eye here. Sorry, I'm writing it in the wrong color. Is going to be lined up out here on top of the tight end, and he's going to be basically just kind of shielding him off. He's going to step hard to the inside and kind of make sure that
hinge block.
No hinge block. All right. So now we have everything blocked. So now if everything, we're not trying to fight the defense. We're taking them where they want to go. So if they want to scrape, great. If this middle linebacker, for example, wants to come in and shoot the A gap on the blitz, the center no longer has to help, and he can pull off and be able to take that guy, because that's his ultimate responsibility. So now everybody's got a hat on a hat. We've taken care of everybody, but the most important thing we're doing is taking care of these guys, these 3 guys to the play side. Now, outside guys are stalk blocking. They're looking to take care of their cornerbacks, and then if depending on where the play goes, they can go on to the safety. What we're left with is now our running back, our H, getting the ball, and he's just attacking the 4-hole. So he's got a landmark that he's looking for, and it's usually going to be the right foot or the outside foot of the right guard, and that's going to be his landmark that he's aiming for. And then now he's able to make his cut upfield to kind of get get everybody out of the way. Now, this free safety back over here, that guy is free man. You gotta make a miss. That's your free man. That's the responsibility of the quarterback. So he's going to carry out his fake out here, and if this free safety doesn't track along with him, or at least stay home a little bit, that's where you can pull guys and kind of get them and get some quick sneak yards on a keeper. And that's something that you got coaches in the booth. They're watching the play. They say, hey, that free safety flew into the box when we ran this play. Tell Grunk to pull it on the next time.
Keep me honest here, and I'm a couple of things. Number one, if you love this type of football, I highly suggest you go watch some of the old Shanahan films from the 49ers, and I mean years and years and years ago. The second thing that I would say is if we're looking at this, if you don't mind pointing along with me, so look at this Mike linebacker here. When you were talking about the Mike, if he goes over the top, as you're expecting him to, and then he gets picked up by the guard, that's where the running back where he's drawn is where you want to hit it. But if that Mike linebacker, for whatever reason, and we've seen our linebackers do this for years, just runs up the field, the running back's just cutting it back, and that's almost what you want to see. Anytime that the defense makes any type of mistake, it's gash cutback lanes that you see. So again, instead of trying to make this difficult on ourselves, or instead of you trying to adjust to everything has to work out for it to work out for you. If you get 3 yards every single play, that's a win, and you're genuinely just taking people where you want them to go. The 2 things that I'll say that are extremely important about this moving forward are, number one, and you can see this is a priority in how Coach Franklin is recruiting, if you have larger human beings in the teams that you are playing against, you will take people in the direction that they're already going at a much higher rate than they probably want to go. That's number one. Number two, it is critically and crucially important that you know who your top 6, maybe 7 guys are in your offensive line. You want to
Yes.
have depth, but all of these double teams and all of these like cooperative blocks that we're going to see are going to be repped in practice. When I was at Tech with Coach Searles, and when I was at Tech with Coach with any one of the coaches that we were working with, it's Bucky Hodges, Coach Weiss. It's Bucky Hodges coming over. It's Ryan Malik coming over, and you are spending 4 to 6 periods of running these blocks all day and trying to figure it out. So this is not going to be a situation where you can have like 2 guys you trust, and those 2 guys one week are playing center, guard, tackle, center, other guard. Like, you want to have guys in spots they're comfortable next to guys they're comfortable doing this with.
Yes, and the great thing about this is that you don't have to run it out of ace. One thing I think we're going to see a lot of this year, something that's going to be new for us. I think we're going to see I think we're going to see a lot of under center. I think we're going to see some under center runs, and when we do this, we may have our other tight end or our H back kind of playing in this slot, and so we'll be able to run this more of a direct for the H with a quarterback boot, and this H back gets to come through and kick out the 5 technique, almost like a split zone look. So this guy can line up in the traditional tight, and then the X would be off the line, and then they can switch, motion over, and then motion back on the play, and that'll just be able to tell the quarterback, hey, in this particular set, they're running man or they're running zone. You see who follows. If no one follows, everybody stays home. Okay, they're playing a zone. So I know that we can run a play action off of this and run 3 levels. You know, we can run a levels concept going back the other way on this boot off the play action, and then now we have something else that we can do off that. So those are the types of things that you run a play. It doesn't necessarily work, but you're looking at 7 or 8 different things up top in the booth. The OC is looking at it, the quality control guy's looking at it, the quarterback's coach, the wide receivers coach, they're all looking at there's different responsibilities there. So I won't talk any more about this. It's just an inside zone play. We got way cooler stuff to talk about. But again, take it for what it is and look at what we can build off of on some of these plays.
And also keep in mind too, over the course of these last couple of years, we've put so much on decision making and making the right read on the quarterback. Whereas if we have a base of 4 to 6 different concepts that we do really, really, really well, and you're depending on all of the, I mean, Coach Franklin has more analysts on one side of the ball than we've had in our entire staff for a long, long time. So again, like, it's almost, what's the way I'm looking for? It's almost like this is the whiskey that you're starting before you make the entire spirit of the offense. If,
Yes,
if that's the kind of simile that we want to use. But what's the next scheme we're going to talk about?
All right, so the next play that we're going to look at is going to be more of a gap scheme. So where we have zone blocking that we just saw, the linemen are blocking towards the play, right? So we have a zone right, where all the linemen are blocking to the right. This play is going to be a gap play, and it's a power with a pull. So in order to do that, we're going to run a gap scheme. So you go your gap down, which is away from the play call, and then to the linebacker. So gap down backer. All right, and that's where all that comes from. So again, we're going to look at this one more time. Let's see, we're going to go with our 1 technique here. We got our 5. We got our 3 here shaded. And then we're going to have our 7 right here with our
Coach,
9.
you can keep going. I'm just going to talk over you while you're setting this up.
Okay.
So when he's writing down 5-1-3-7, that's defensive end, defensive tackle. He's just basically annotating what gap that they're in. So if you're a little confused on that, that's essentially how that works. And the one other thing that I'll mention too is the difference between defensive end and edge, which you've seen over the last couple of years, is edge normally you are seeing line up in the 5 or the 7 spot on the end, quote unquote. You're just seeing as time goes on that edges are actually getting better at participating in pass coverages. So that is why we've moved away from that terminology. So
yes. Okay. So on this play, again, everyone's blocking back away from the play. Okay. So let's start from the play side and work back. Okay. We are actually going to be leaving this guy alone. Okay. So this guy here, this 7 technique. Okay.
Coach, if you don't mind, for this one, can we start with where our aiming point is, like where the ball is going? I think that'll be if we could say, hey, this is where the back's going, and here's how we're blending up.
Okay, so this is 16 power is what we're going to call this play. It's going to the right. So if we say that this is the 2 hole here, the 4 hole here, the 6 hole is here. So we're going 2, 4, 6. So you count that over. So this is the aim point. We're running off tackle in between the tackle and the tight end here. So this is what we're looking for. Now, the purpose of this play, it's very similar to an old wing tee style buck sweep. But instead of pulling 2 guards, we're going to utilize an H-back or playing more of a fullback role in this play. So we're going to start from the play side and work back. Okay. So this Sam linebacker here, or strong side linebacker, this is going to be the responsibility of our tight end. Okay. So we are going to what's called an influence block. Okay. So he's actually going to step towards the guy he's not blocking in order to get him to step in and commit. Okay. So he steps in and commits. His responsibility is to go seal off that Sam linebacker. Okay. Our next 2 down, our tackle and our guard, they're going to work this combo here, the 3 technique to the middle, to the Mike linebacker. Okay. So we're going here, and because we're going blocking away from the play, this tackle is trying to push this 3 technique to where the guard can get his helmet on the outside of this 3 technique and drive him back in towards the middle of the formation. So now the tackle can branch out and pick up this Mike linebacker. Okay. Same thing with the 1. Okay. The 1 is going to be kind of a unique stretch, right? We're actually blocking this 1 here. He's solo. This is one of the few times in this scheme we're going to have a one-on-one guy. Center is going to take the 1, kind of take him where he wants to go. Normally, because he's going to be lined up on his outside, it's going to be kind of easier to wash him down. The guard is going to be your lead blocker on this play. I'll show what he does in just a second. And again, your backside tackle, as most backside tackles do in a gap scheme, they're hinge blocking. So he's stepping down into this gap, replacing the guard, and then he's got his eyes peeled to the inside out, looking for either this will blitzing or this 5 technique following him and crashing down. So he's always looking for the first most dangerous threat, which always comes from the inside. So if this will linebacker tries to shoot the gap when that guard leaves, he's going to step down and take that, and now you're left with this 5 technique that could come unabated, but he's going to have backside contain. He has to stay home. Okay, he can't just rush up field, or else quarterback can pull the ball and we'll torch him. Okay, so now let's talk about our attack point. First, we're going to kick out this 7 with our H-back or our F. We're going to get on his inside shoulder, and we're going to drive him out of the play. Our backside guard takes a step back and pulls around, and there's your lead block, going right through the 6 hole. Quarterback takes a snap, hands off the ball, and we have a follow right there. Our Z is actually going to be stalking to the inside and pick up that strong safety, because these guys aren't very good tacklers. So we want to take care of these guys here in the middle that are a little bit better at tackling the ball carrier. So
a couple of things that I want to point out on this. Unlike zone, this is not a play you can bounce back. The reason you can't bounce it back is obviously because you're leaving yourself at a huge risk on the backside of this play. A couple of other things too. The tackle block may not seem like it's important, the backside tackle. It's actually extremely important, and there's no reason that you shouldn't get a plus. Basically, you would get a grade for your effort, and you would get a grade for your technique, or the result and the technique. It is an extremely easy and an extremely important block. Reason being, if the will is able to get through on that inside gap and replace that pulling guard, he's going to absolutely murder your quarterback or murder your running back. That is where you see fumbles in the mesh, where they get absolutely blown up. It's usually where you see something like that. The second thing that I'll say is this is where a center is so tremendously important. That one-on-one block that the center is going to have when his guard is leaving him, especially if you have my least favorite block ever to make as a center, was this block when you either had a nose on a 0, so he's head up on you, or if you're having to go back. If this play is flipped and I'm a right-handed center and our right guard is pulling, you're snapping the ball, getting the hand from out under your crotch and then into a 300-pound defensive tackle. So that is probably, to me, the biggest, most important block is that center block on this play. It's a tough block to make, but man, if you hit this, I mean, you're setting yourself up for teams that run this efficiently are blowing people up. This and trap, probably my favorite plays to go ahead and watch from an offensive line perspective.
And if you want to see a team that does it really well, and again, they did struggle at times, but those middle 6 or 7 games of the season where they were just dominating people, go watch Alabama. Alabama runs a really great H-back, backside guard, buck sweep, which is essentially what this is. If we do get a variation on this play, let's say, for example, we get a 3-man front where we're going to it's going to look very similar, but you're going to have somebody head up over the center. This 3 technique is going to be a little wider, almost like a 4. He's going to be head up here. So if we do see that variation, we can actually adjust this and be able to run it more inside. Okay, if this guy is a little wider than that, if he's playing outside of the tackle here, and this linebacker happens to be playing out, now this tackle can become our kick, and now we can run this play up the gut, and it becomes more of a this fullback. I'll show you right here. So this, if he's here or he's even 4 or 5, now we can go block that guy right now. This guard kind of pulls up through the hole a little bit tighter.
This is where you see some massive collisions. I can't remember if this was the Ole Miss Miami game or this was the it was one of the games on New Year's Day. I was watching this with my pops, but I think Miami was featured because when you see some of these collisions between the tight end or the H-back and the defensive ends, that's what I'm so excited about, because the quality and size and athlete that we are bringing in at tight end, it's basically going to be tight end versus defensive end. And against most teams except Miami, just by the nature of the athlete that they're able to consistently bring in, Virginia Tech's going to be at a tremendous advantage if they're bringing in some of the best tight ends out of high school at the size that we're bringing them in.
Yes, 100% agree. 100% agree.
One more thing, Coach.
Yes.
Keep in mind another variation for that, because when the defense starts to see this a lot and you're prepping for it, the linebackers are looking for low hat and the linebackers are looking for vacating guards. The one thing that you're going to see and you guys are going to love is power pass. I almost think power pass is going to become like the new read option, or what was the one that we were always what is the pass run option? RPO. Power pass is going to be the new RPO buzzword of this offense, I think.
Yep. So all right. So let's get into the pass game a little bit. So basically, I showed you a zone run scheme. I showed you a gap run scheme play, and we could do some different things with that. Now, quick game, 3-step drop. This is where you saw a lot. If you watched any Penn State ball, or if you've gone back and watched any Penn State tape to see what Grunkmeyer can do. You've seen some of these concepts. Now, most passing concepts nowadays are, we can either run a concept, we can run like a flood, we can run a sail, we could run a mesh. There's all kinds of different things that you could do, but there's also a way to take advantage of a coverage, or a way to take advantage of a if they're running a lot of man and they're trying to press up on you, if they're running a lot of zone. There's a lot of different things that your quarterback can see in some of these other plays that will lead to some success. So this is a play called Dragon, okay? And you'll see here, I'm not even going to draw defense because I just want you to see the route concepts, and you can imagine there's a secondary back there. So on this play, we're going to be utilizing our tight ends in a quick game fashion. So now these guys, these linebackers and safeties are going to have to make really super quick decisions on if we have play action here. Okay, do we take away the running back, or do we match up on the tight end once he vacates and leaves? Okay, so with this, and this is something that I have heard in our group chat with Sons of Saturday, people have been calling for something like this forever, right? Let's start on the middle, right? Our tight ends are going to be running 2-yard arrows. So outside release, arrow into the flats on both sides, okay? So we have a flat defender out there in any way. That's what you're reading if you're the quarterback. So you're looking at this flat defender. So it could be the corner out here. It could be an outside linebacker that's setting up. If his outside linebacker picks up the tight end, we have something really fun coming up that we can also go look at. Our X and our Z, they are running slants off of the inside. So now we have almost like a mesh on the flat defender, and putting him on an island, putting him in a bind to where he has to make a decision on who he picks up. If he runs here with the X or the Z, now we have basically a tight end that's going to have a 2 or 3 step advantage on this weak side linebacker or the safety that's got to come downhill. It's almost a guaranteed 5 yards, right? If the corner trails.
I was going to say, Coach, and I hate to do this when you're just getting started. The last couple of years, to have a very simple, very quick snap decision to get 5 yards would solve so many of our problems. And what I think about here is, I know the defense isn't drawn up here, but if a defensive end is in any way falling into the flat, or if they're running any variation of a cornerback blitz, this immediately is going to get the defense to stop doing it, because they're going to get gashed on this 2 or 3 times, and it's an easy decision for the quarterback to make. It's not something that you have to scheme up and you get to pull out of your back pocket every once in a while. This is one of the base things that the defense is constantly going to have to be worrying about. It's so simple. And, Coach, keep this in mind, too. This isn't 15 yards down the field. This isn't 25 yards down the field. Virginia Tech is going to have and going to, in my opinion, has one of the most accurate quarterbacks, will be playing quarterback this year, that we've had in the history of the school. Yes. And he will be making passes that are easier than anything that we have seen us ask our quarterbacks to make in the last 10 years of watching Virginia Tech football. Please get that into your head as you're looking at this.
Now, the great thing about this is that a lot of this can be done on a pre-snap read. If you're the quarterback, you can sit back there, break the huddle. There's 15, 20 seconds left on the play clock. There's no rush. You can go back and look and see where the cornerback here is sitting. If this cornerback is playing off 6 or 7 yards and his hips are angled inward, you know he's about to drop back in a zone, right? So if he's dropping back in a zone, you know right now that this is probably going to be cut off, because he's going to be able to make an easy break on it once he sees this route start to develop. Now, you have a free safety that's going to be back here, but with this slant, if you got a little window right here and right here that you're going to be able to take advantage of, and you can judge that based all on alignment. So you don't even have to worry about reading things while there's bullets being fired at you, anything else. It's just right there. Now, the other cool thing about this, we've always talked about executing in the middle of the field. Why do we leave the middle of the field open? Okay, we have 5 in to protect with a running back looking inside out that's also going to be able to release and hook up 5 yards down the middle. So now we have that safety valve. So when we see pass and we see this Mike linebacker bail and the Will linebacker, and they go drop into the hook curl zones, Now we've left a wide open thing if they've taken everything else away. Okay,
So you have the capability, number one, of beating the blitz with the route that you're running, and number two, beating the blitz by the fact that the ball is out in 3 seconds or less. This is not a long developing play. This is not something that's going to take too long. Again, this is something that you can go to the well over and over and over again. Obviously, a completely different scheme. Obviously, a completely different play. But think about how much in the Florida State game in 2018, Virginia Tech just took advantage of Florida State running, having their cornerbacks off the line of scrimmage, and they ran bubble and bubble and bubble and bubble to death. If you continue to blitz, if you continue to absolutely stack the box and try to put defensive ends and try to put linebackers on tight ends who are more athletic, we're just going to do this to you until you can't do it anymore.
Yes, and so the other cool thing about this is what we can do to help the quarterback out a little bit with some motion, right? That's the reason why offenses move guys around. It's all to help the quarterback. It's not just eye candy to make ourselves look fancy. It's all to help the quarterback know what coverage is out there, and also to help the receivers know what coverages are out there if they're running any type of option route. Okay, I'll talk about what option routes are here in just a second. So let's say we have this same play called, but we want to show trips. All right, so we have Y trips here. So we still have our tight end as our Y. We have now our F receiver. He's lined up as an inside slot with our Z being the outside flank. We can set this guy in motion, okay, going across pre-snap, snaps the ball when he gets behind the tackle, and now he's got that same route that he would have had if he had been lined up on the line. What that also does, if they're playing man and they have a guy that's trailing on the defensive side, that's your hot read if you see linebackers blitzing up the middle. So if you know that we only have 5 in to protect and they're bringing 6, that is your hot route. That's your hot call. So now we've used motion to get somebody out of position on the defense that if he feels pressure quick, snap, get rid of it. 3-4 yards in a cloud of dust, go live to play another down. So and again, this is just a variation on this that we can go through and look at. And again, we're putting people on islands. We're putting them in a bind. We can get people out of position. And it's a simple concept. We're not trying to outthink the room here.
Well, and keep this in mind too, Coach. If you're running these 3-step drops and you're not having to move the pocket and you're not rolling out every single play, let's call it what it is. The last couple of years, we had receivers running routes that had a 0% chance of getting the football. Right? Mm-hmm. Consistently had wide receivers running routes that had a 0% chance to catch the football. A play like that, everybody's got a chance to catch the football, and they know exactly what the defense has to look like for them to catch the football. So again, I know we're not used to seeing an offense that's going to pass the ball from the pocket, that's going to be able to get it to their wide receivers and be able to have the ball out in 2 or 3 seconds. That's what you're going to see. And if I'm Aiden Green, if I'm some of these wide receivers, even I know we've given a lot of love to the tight ends, I'm fired up about this too, because you're going to get me the ball, you're going to get it to me quick, and you're going to get it to me in space.
Yes. So that was just one concept. I'm going to show you one more here, and again, something that Hokie fans have been clamoring for is, how do we attack the middle of the field? It seemed like the only time we ever attacked the middle of the field was when a tight end got loose and there was a blown assignment, and we were able to kind of hit that pop pass. We're actually going to try to do things now that are going to kind of blow up the middle of the field and make those safeties have to pay attention to it where they can't help in the run game. They have to be able to monitor these type of things. So this play is called Sparrow. Okay. Now with this play, it's going to end up looking like a flood or a sail concept, except the fact that we're going to be kind of focusing a little bit more on the middle of the field here. But we're trying to get guys out of the way, but we have quick reads, we have hot routes, and it's real easy. So let's start from the play side. So we're going to start with the X side first. Okay, he's going to have a 10-yard out. Okay, so it's going to be an outside release. Okay, 10-yard out route. So if he's going to probably line up inside in between the numbers and the hash, give himself plenty of room here. So right now you're taking the corner out. Okay, if they're playing zone and the corner bails, right? This is going to be your primary read. This is your first read in your progression. If the corner bails and he's able to take that away, we go to our second route, and I'll show you what that is in just a second. However, if they're playing, if he is playing zone, he does come up to take away the secondary route. The free safety that's going to be back over here is going to be responsible for getting over here to cover that. That's a long way to go on a 10-yard route. So, again, that's your primary read. If it's there, we're going to take it every time. Okay, so now we have a play that we can run. It's 3rd and 8. We need a first down. Here we go. That's our primary read. It's kind of easy to go with. Now, our second route is actually going to come from our F. Okay, so it's our inside slot. And this is also our hot route, that if we have blitz, if we have pressure, we can use this as our hot route. This is going to be a shallow cross. So we're going to get about 2 yards, cross all the way across the field in that formation. Okay? So now, again, this is where that corner that's playing right there, he's going to be in a bind. If he's playing man, obviously he takes this away. Now this is going to be the responsibility of the will linebacker or the free safety coming downhill. Okay? And so we do have a window where we can hit this. If we have pressure up the middle, we also are able to use that as our hot read to be able to get that out of there. Now our Y has an option route. Now here's what I mean by an option route. Based on the coverage that is shown, they can run one of two things. Okay, if they're showing man coverage, okay, which means this strong safety here is going to have responsibility for this tight end right here. Okay, more than likely. We're going to outside release, 10 yards, dig across the middle of the field. Sorry, I know that's not a super straight line. But we're going to dig across the middle of the field at 10 yards. So now if they're playing man coverage, he's going to have open availability here, especially if this free safety has to come down and pick up that shallow cross. We have our window. We talked about that a little while ago, our passing window. Now, if they're playing zone, okay, we have middle linebackers here that are dropping in hook curl zones. After he makes his break, this safety is going to be out of the picture. He's bailing. He's got deep half of the field responsibility. He's going to break that off and settle down right in this hole. Okay, so now we have two windows that we can throw based on whatever coverage they're showing. So if they're playing zone, here we go. If they're playing man, we keep going across, and we got our windows to hit. So we're going 1, 2, 3 right there. So that's our read progression based on the coverage. Now our Z receiver.
You got the Y. He's either going to sit before he's running into the zone, or he's going to vacate the safety. If he sees the safety, that's exactly what he's going to do. So again, not trying to scheme anything open, but taking what the defense is giving you.
Yes. So now our Z receiver. Again, a lot of stuff in this offense. You're going to see us even on like basic run plays. Receivers are pressing vertical. Okay, they may be stalk blocking on occasion, but we're going to press vertical. We want to make sure that the cornerbacks and the safeties have to run just as much as we do and get them worn out and exhausted. So this Z receiver on the backside, depending on what release he has, and that release depends on where the corner lines up. Corner lines up on the outside, he's going to have an inside release. Okay, corner lines up head up or inside, we're going to release to the outside. And he's just taking the top off. So when we say that, he's just pressing the sideline, getting downfield, and he's making this guy think. Right? Do I need to get back and help him out, help the corner out if the corner gets beat? What do I got to do? Now, what really makes this play work on the backside to the trip side is that, which is kind of funny because this is the strength of the formation, but we're actually running the play to the weak side of the defense, is what the running back's going to do. So honestly, the running back's first responsibility is to check for pressure. So if he sees blitz, he steps up, reads inside out, looking for any pressure. But his release is going to be a little outlet. So he's going to hook up 5 yards downfield, and he's going to be able to take away any type of strong side linebacker presence or anything else like that. Now, if everybody bails, if this strong side linebacker trails with the F and they're playing in man coverage, he trails with them before he can pass it off. The strong safety bails because they have to pick up this guy running deep. There you go. There's your fourth read in the progression, all right? Or fifth read in the progression. So we have 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, 4 on the deep ball, and 5. So we have 5 options on this route. Also, let's say they're playing 0, right? It's no deep safeties. Everybody's playing up, and there's pressure, and we have one-on-one man coverage to the outside. This can always be adjusted to be, hey, we're going to take, we trust our Z to beat this corner, and it's one-on-one. Here we go. Let's take our shot. So, again, it's a really, 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 really awesome play in order to be able to do that. Now, again, a way to modify this in any way, nothing really changes except we start with the X off the line. We start with the tight end over to the play side. Okay? We call a shift. He drops back. He goes up. Then he goes in motion and resets there, and then on the snap, he goes back across. So it's a way to modify the play from a different look, different formation that you might get a coverage that you prefer, right? And so if you see a lot of double tight sets, you're probably going to see a lot of man coverage against us. And this is a way to kind of draw that man coverage before they can make the audible. We adjust, and then are able to kind of beat them back going the other way. So sorry, go ahead.
One of the beauties here too of this is, keep in mind, for all intents and purposes, I think most conversations we have are going to be centered around Grunk being our starting quarterback next year. He did this last year.
Yes.
He has half a year of running this concept with many of the players that are on our roster. The crazy thing is, he's ran this concept with many of the players that are on the roster. And when I say many of the players, when he was the second string quarterback before the injury, he's running this with the second string wide receivers and the second string tight ends who have transferred in. So he actually probably has an entire summer and half of a season of running this with the skill players that are coming in. So again, this is not a new scheme with a new quarterback and a new set of everybody. This is a scheme coming over with the quarterback who is familiar with it. And this is why, Coach, when we were talking about the coordinator hire, right? Everybody was like, man, who are we going to bring in? What is it? Here's the deal. For all intents and purposes, the coordinator is going to be the one calling the plays, and the plays that he is going to be calling is from the scheme and the brain of Coach Franklin. That's essentially what we're looking at here. And there are going to be variations of everything that we're showing you here today, but Coach Franklin has been doing this for decades really effectively, and that's what we're going to see here in Blacksburg.
This next play I want to show, again, is something else that we've been clamoring for. I know I have. I've been yelling at the wall for a play like this. And this is something that you're going to see a lot if it's, let's say we're in 3rd and 8, 2nd and 8. Okay, it's middle, late in the drive series, and it's a passing situation. We know that they're going to pin their ears back and go, right? One of the best things to beat a pass rush is a screen game. Okay, especially on the interior. You got to make these defensive linemen think before they go. If they can just pin their ears back, and that's why you see a lot of end of game situations not necessarily work out very well, especially in the NFL, because those pass rushers, they're not thinking about a screen, they're not thinking about a run. They know you're throwing, and it is just wide open, 100 miles per hour upfield to create pressure. So this is going to be it's a double screen. So it's not your traditional tunnel screen, not your traditional bubble screen or a jailbreak. We're running in both directions here. And I love having a double option here based on what side of the field is most vulnerable. So we're looking at a play here. I've drawn it up where it's kind of balanced. But if you notice, we have 3 skills over here. We have 2 skills to the left. Okay, how we're running this is we're looking for the best possible matchup, and it's usually done by numbers. So like right here, we have our drew one too many there. So if you know, we have 2-on-2 right over here, and over here we have 3-on-4. Okay, so if you're looking at this matchup, I'm thinking that going to the 2-on-2 side probably going to be the better matchup for us, especially when you see how we're going to block it, because we know who's going to be out there, right? So let's take a look at how this works. Now, I always like to start with the linemen before we do anything else. All right, linemen don't get a whole lot of love, so let's give them the first bit of attention, right? So on any screen, Billy, pop quiz, what are you doing most of the time on a screen?
Pretending that we're passing.
Pretending you're passing. You're inviting the rush.
I got no weight on my hands.
Yep.
Maybe letting the guy beat me on purpose.
Yes. And so all these guys are initially going to be sinking back in a pass protection, okay, here, and they're all setting up like it's going to be a pass play. And so what this tells this defensive lineman from the get-go is that, okay, they're passing, I'm in pass rush mode, let's go, okay? So these guys are going to be running upfield. We want the quarterback to be under a little bit of pressure on this play. It seems counterintuitive. That's what we want. All right. Now our Y is gonna arc block out here, and he's gonna try to get around this defensive end if he can, and we want to try to get him on the outside of this Sam linebacker here. Okay. Now, once these defensive linemen have been invited upfield, all these offensive linemen are going to release up. Okay, they're going to release upfield, and they all have an assignment. So let's stay on this right side here. Our tackle is, once he sets back, is actually going to be running straight towards the sideline, like he's late for dinner. Okay, he's trying to get off the field. Now, what this is doing, okay, is they think we're going to run something quick out here towards this Z, because this Z is really not going to move until the end of the play, or until we see. So this guy kind of stands still, pauses for a little bit. If this cornerback rushes upfield, this tackle gets to go one-on-one and blow up a cornerback, which is like a dream,
yes,
right?
Yes.
That's a dream
scenario.
Yeah. So now we have our guard, who's going to he's going to release upfield, and he's running the alley. Okay, so he's looking for the first opposite colored jersey threat. Okay, so if this Sam linebacker happens to get away from our tight end, he runs upfield. If this 9 technique backtracks or drops into coverage, he's going to pick him up. It's the first opposite colored jersey that's a threat. But ideally, he's rushed upfield. So now he gets to go take on this safety up here. And again, dream call if you're a lineman. So now, what goes to this side? The Z is going to bail late, press to the outside, and he's just basically running off a defender. This H, this running back, is running a running back bubble. Okay, so we've seen that a bunch. So basically, it's essentially a toss sweep over here, and we're pulling student body right. We're pulling everybody out to that side. Okay, but we're going to let him bubble and get some depth, throw the ball, lead him upfield. If he catches it, he's off, right? Let's go to the other side. This other side, once we've invited the rush, the center has responsibility for this Mike linebacker here, okay? The guard on this side is going to check and release, and he's going to go take out this Will linebacker out here. That's his goal. Now, tackle is going to release. This is the only one that we have here that's never going to go upfield. He's going to check. This guy invites upfield. He's going to run that guy off and try to take him completely out of the play. Basically, if he pass rushes, we're going to get on this inside shoulder here and just run him on out of the play. So that's the only responsibility that guy has, and he's just glad he doesn't have to go run, right? Now, we're going to we've taken care of the Will linebacker. This cornerback out here, our F receiver, is going to cross in front, and our X receiver is going to take 2 steps vertical. And why does he take 2 steps vertical? We're trying to get that cornerback in a back pedal so we can set up this block, right? 2 steps vertical, retreat behind the line of scrimmage, and there's your tunnel screen up underneath. Okay? So quarterback throws tunnel screen here, boom. And so now Grunkmeyer is, or whoever's quarterback, is going to be dropping back, and he's going to drop back a little bit more, try to invite that rush, get everybody centered around him, and then he's going to go deliver the ball. Now, he's looking at the numbers. He's dividing the field in half. He's counting who we have on one side versus who we have on the other, and then making that decision to go one way or the other. The quarterback is going to read the call side defensive end if he rushes the quarterback. If this 9 technique here comes in and rushes the quarterback, we're throwing the swing. Okay? If he stays home or drops into coverage, we know that he's going to have responsibility out here in this area for this running back. We're going to throw the tunnel. Okay? So again, it's a quick, easy read you can make while the play is going on. You don't have to do a whole lot of pre-snap, but this is something that's going to make all these defensive linemen think before they just pin their ears back and go. So we run it a couple of times, and again, we may not get anything out of it, guys. And again, not every play is if it's executed 100% perfectly, of course it's going to score a touchdown. But sometimes we're setting up stuff to do later on. And what we're doing right here is trying to eliminate a little bit of pass rush. So if we have a longer developing route concept, quarterback gets a little bit more time to breathe. So love the screen game. Love being able to get the running back and the wide receiver involved at the same time. And it's a beautifully designed screen call.
It's also helpful to not have a play that's either dead before you snap it. If you have 2 options here, you're not automatically having to dirt it, and you're not automatically having to take a timeout. So
yes,
super excited to watch this. I think we're going to obviously do a lot more of these. And Coach, just as a teaser, what are some other concepts that we'll talk about moving up here? So just to recap, we covered zone, we covered gap, we covered dragon, we covered jet sparrow, and we covered the screen game. So these are some of the base concepts that we'll see out of this offense, but any other call-outs or anything else that you're looking forward to previewing here in the future?
Yeah, there are a couple of really great concepts, where we can put defenders on islands and make them have to make a decision, and then the quarterback just reads where that guy goes and goes the opposite way. Then there's also more plays where we can get vertical, and we can take the top off the defense. So when we get back into this, Coach Franklin likes to throw the ball. I know he wants to say we want to establish the run, and I think we're going to be doing a lot of that this year, trying to establish the run, a lot of Big Ten football. But if you go back and look at some of the stuff that Maryland did in the late 2000s, early 2010s, when they were still in the ACC, go back and look at some of the stuff that they ran, how they really tried to press the secondary a lot. The problem was, when they played Virginia Tech, for example, we were a lot better than they were, and we had way more dudes than they had. They gave us a couple of tight ball games, but more times than not, our better athletes won. But the concepts are still there. The idea of a vertical threat option route, where you get one-on-one coverage, and based on if you have 1 high safety or 2 high safeties, determines what route the receiver is going to run. Quarterback knows it, and the receiver knows it. So it's real easy. All I got to do is count. Oh, there's 2 there. I'm going this way. It's again, we're trying to take the thinking out of football. If you think in football, you're dead. And if you can just play with natural instinct, and you can stand out there, look at your position, look at the coverage that you're in, you say, oh, this guy's playing zone. I know I'm probably not getting the ball, but I need to run this route hard to make sure he stays out of the play. So that's the type of thing that we're going to be doing as we move forward. And there's also, we can get into some wrinkles. We can look at some, hey, this is a reverse that they've run before. We can talk about those different types of things. But again, I'm not saying I'm the be all end all of football knowledge, obviously. Otherwise I'd probably still be coaching and making a lot more money doing it. But this is something that I'm glad I have an avenue. Thank you, Billy Ray, for giving me an opportunity here to kind of I really just want to educate you guys out there just have a little bit more of a knowledge. Oh, say, hey, they ran this double screen. Hey, Coach Holmes, we talked about that in January. So so maybe you'll see it, maybe you won't. But again, it's something that at least why we're doing some of the things that we do. If they may not work all the time, may not work 100% of the time, but we at least have concepts of a plan, right? So
I will say no, Coach. We're thrilled to have you, and I definitely want to. This is something we're going to continue to build on. Again, with the Riverside change. God, my voice, man. To let y'all know, I'm dealing with this flu, garbage, cold crap that's been going around the East Coast. But we're going to continue to build this out. A couple months ago, we did this on. We got on Google Meet, and we did a screen share thing, and we didn't like the way it came out. I'm really liking the way that this looks now. We'll continue to make some improvements. So if there are things that y'all want to see, do let us know. If there are other offenses that you'd like to look into and other offensive coordinators that you'd like to dive into kind of their stuff, or even go back in time and look at some of the stuff we've done in the past, I think that'll be a ton of fun. But Coach, you've done an awesome job. And I do got to tip my cap. Last time you were on the podcast, what do we have? 6,000 views, 8,000 views on YouTube only. So you're in the 8 club. Congratulations. Right. No, this is good stuff. And if you're listening to this, gosh, this will probably go out on the 24th in the morning. Do be safe. It's going to be a dangerous weekend with all of the snow and everything. But look, a lot of reasons to be excited. This is an offensive scheme, and no disrespect, this is going to be something that has proven to work for a very long time with more talented players than we've had in a very long time. I'll say it again, bricked up for the season. I mean, there's really no other words to describe it. Coach, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up that video came out today, the Set in Stone video with Coach Pry, and we had a chance we sat down and we talked about it when Coach Pry was announced as coming back, and I just want to reiterate, man, the selflessness, the brotherhood, the love, and the humility that it takes to accept that role, I think it has a chance to be one of the best stories in college football next year. And we'll get into some of the X's and O's of Coach Pry. And Coach Franklin said it, and I think he said it the way that we kind of said it when he got brought back. Don't forget the reason why Coach Pry was hired to be the head coach of Virginia Tech. He is an elite defensive coordinator, an elite defensive mind. And I'm excited to see him, for lack of better terms, pin his ears back and focus on what he's great at.
Yeah, and from a coach's perspective, who's been at multiple stops along the way, sometimes a program can be at a particular stage where I'm not saying it's impossible to turn it around at that time, but maybe your message doesn't hit at that particular time. And never fault the person, right? It's a results oriented business. You got to win, right? So I've been in schools where there was a massive culture change that was needed, and you spend so much time on culture, and trying to establish and instill certain values in a program that have maybe gone by the wayside, that you don't focus as much on the X's and O's, that you probably should. And again, it's one thing, very rarely does someone step into an awesome situation, right? And where you just can hit the ground running. Not everybody can be Ryan Day and be born on third base. You are, a lot of times if someone steps into a situation, steps into a program, there are so many things that, for a variety of reasons, and I'm not placing blame on any person in particular, whatever it is, Virginia Tech was at a point where, a first-time head coach with 2 first-time coordinators maybe wasn't the best solution, and we've beaten that to death. But we did do a good job of establishing culture. Kids that actually loved the program, that wanted to stay, and that wanted to be a part of the program. And we reestablished relationships in the Commonwealth with schools, and recruiting did get better. It wasn't to the point where it is now, but it was getting better. So again, don't want to beat the dead horse, but again, maybe it was the right stepping stone. I know Hokie fans don't want to hear it because we want to go back. We want to win, right? Can't spell fanatic without fan. So we're fanatical about our football, and we want it to be good and successful yesterday. Sometimes, it's just not the right place in the right time. But you establish a couple more keystones to where the next person that comes in can now focus more on the product that's what's on the field. So sorry, I went on a little bit, but I've been wanting to say that for a minute.
No, 100%. I completely agree with you. And to your born on third base thing, sometimes you're born on third base and it doesn't work out. Shaylin Moore's in jail, and the Alabama job was almost vacant 2 months ago. So
yep.
Now I'm thrilled that he's here. I'm thrilled to see how it works out and excited for it. So Coach Holmes, thanks for doing this. We'll do it again soon. Please please subscribe, and we hope to see you again here soon.
Hey, appreciate you, boys. Go Hokies.